Okay, so question 4. So they're saying use the figure to answer 4 questions. They actually want y, which is part of this angle, and the m stands for measure. Measure of angle 1, which is angle 1's right there. Measure of angle 2, which is right here. And then finally, value of x. X is part of this angle right there, 14x plus 6. They're giving us the expressions now in this one. So, okay. So a lot of stuff to do here. This one's not easy. Where can we start on this one? Where can we start? Well, we could. There's let me remind you. Let me give you the key facts. So I think we're going to use the fact number 1. Remember that diagonal angles are equal. They're called vertical. I don't know why they're called that. I always think of vertical as up and down, but they're diagonal. They call them vertical. Anyway, they're always equal. We talked about that in the last section, right? Diagonal angles called vertical are always equal. Okay, so what? Well, that means that this angle here. So what's hard on these kind of diagrams, when they have like lots of things all mixed together, is it can kind of be hard to sort out the parts. So let me help you. Let me kind of like highlight this line. Let me just shade it in, just to help it kind of jump off the page for you. And then this one also. So if you kind of like focus in on just those 2 lines and block out most of the other stuff, then you can see these 2 are diagonally across, right? They call it vertical, even though they're sideways, they call that vertical. So those are diagonally across from each other. They've got to be equal, don't they? So in other words, this one and this one are equal. So 53 has to equal 5y minus 12 because they're diagonal. The opening has to be the same for the diagonal opening is the same for those 2 lines. So I can solve for y. Let's add 12 to both sides. So we get, what's that, 65, and then divide by 5. And I'm getting what, 13? So y is 13. So we got y. So there we go. All right. And next they want us to find angle 1. Angle 1's right here, right? Measure of angle 1. Angle 1's right here. Do you see what we could do there? Let me erase some of this stuff. What we could do is we could kind of, again, let me focus your attention on a line. Just one line at a time, kind of pop off the page for you. So if you just look at just that line, this and this, those together make one side of that straight line, don't they? And remember how one side of a line must total 180 degrees? So I'll use that and write that down. Fact number 2. One side of a line holds 180 degrees. Right? Remember, that's from the idea that, like, if you go all the way around a circle, that's 180. So if you just go halfway around, you're just one side. Wait a minute, I did that backwards, didn't I? All the way around a circle is 360 degrees. Therefore, if you just go halfway around, that's 180. So if you're just one side of a straight line, that's 180. Or some people will say, you better make a 180, and I can just turn halfway around, right? Anyway, so therefore, we can find angle 1. I'll just write angle 1 must equal 180 minus 53. Does everybody see that? So angle 1 right here and the 53. they together make one side of that line, don't they? So they have to make 180 total. So take 180 minus 53, and angle 1 will be, was it 127? 127, yeah. So angle 1 is 127, like that. Good. Now, angle 2, time to get angle 2. Do you see how we can do the same thing for angle 2 if we focus on a different line? If we say we focus on this one right here and let that one jump off the page for us. So focusing on that line right there, this angle, and this angle. Now we have 3 angles that together make one side of a straight line. See how those 3 angles all put together make one side of that straight line? So right there, angle 2 must be 180 minus the 53 and minus the 40. Is that making sense? Because those 3 are making one side of that purple straight line there. So 93, so it's going to be 87. So angle 2 is 87. Okay, now what's left to do? Well, we still, the last thing they want us to find is X. X. And you see what we can do for X? See how this and this together must make 180. It's the one side of a straight line again. So let me highlight this straight line. So highlighting this green straight line, this angle here, which is 90, and the 14x plus 6, they together make the top of that straight line. So they've got to make 180, don't they? So in other words, 14x plus 6 plus the 90 has to total 180. So the 14x plus 6 and the 90 together has to make 180. So we just keep using this one side of a straight line holds 180 thing.
Good question.
Question.
Yes. So why did we put all the 3 numbers like 4x plus 6 plus 90 equals 180? But when we did the y, we only did, well, mine was 78 equals 12y minus 6.
Yeah, good question. So for this one, for the y one, I wasn't adding them up to equal 180. That was a different fact. That was diagonal angles are equal. So I was just taking this formula equal to that. I was just setting one of them equal to the other one. So I wasn't adding anything up to equal 180 because those were not making a straight line. These were just those were just diagonal angles. And so diagonal angles are equal. So I just simply set them equal to each other. This.
Okay, that makes sense.
Down here, these 2 have to add up to equal 180. Yes, I have to use the whole 14 because this angle right here, oops, right there, is 14x plus 6. And then the other angle is the 90. And so the 14x plus 6, that's all one angle. And the 90 have to add up to be 180. Yeah, but it's kind of tricky because that whole big expression, 14x plus 6, that's all one angle. That's all one angle. So that whole thing, and then add the 90 is the 180. So then we need to solve that equation. So let's see, what do we got? So we got 14x plus, and that's going to be 96, right? The 6 and the 90. And then to get x alone, we got to subtract 96 from both sides. Boom, boom. And 14x equals, what's that? 84. Right, yeah. And then last step, divide by the 14. And x is, I think it's 616. Yeah, 6. So there we go. We got x on that one. Yeah. So we had to use really two different facts throughout this problem. The first fact was that diagonal angles are equal. They're called vertical. So that means this one and this one were equal. I could solve for y. And then the second fact that we used repeatedly is that one side of a straight line holds 180. So I did that for angle 1. These two had to hold 180. So took 180 minus the 53. Find angle 1, then angle 2. These three all had to total 180. So 180 minus the 53 and the 40 to get angle 2. And then finally, same thing. I took the green straight line and those two, 14x plus 6 plus the 90 is the 180. And there we go. We solved all those parts.